Just do one time sound check. Just do a sound check. Can we do a sound check for online? Can you hear us online?
We can hear you online.
Thank you. Perfect.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome everybody in the room here at Bakerson in Wiesbaden. Welcome everybody online. We have a great turnout here. How many people online? About 50 people online. Excellent. So before we get started, some notes for the audience here and also online. Please switch off your camera if you're online. Keep your microphones muted. There will be a question and answer session from the Corps of Engineers briefing later. We are recording this session. It will be posted on YouTube, and the presentations will also be available on our website for viewing later on. One message, again, a repeat message for people in the room: please disconnect from the venue Wi-Fi. So we can make sure we have the bandwidth we need to keep this going. Thanks. Next slide, please.
Good. You're good. Sorry. You're good.
I'm good. Okay. So first of all, thanks everybody for on my team, on the SME Randline Post team for putting this event together and for being here this morning. I made a deliberate decision to turn up late, confident that the various people we have managing our programs will have everything under control, and I think everyone here will agree that so far, touch wood, everything's gone very well. I would like to, before we get going with the program, I'd like to welcome some of our honoured guests. You're all honoured, especially those people who've made the trip across from the US to be here. From the Corps of Engineers, we have Lieutenant Colonel John Klein, Justin Weatherwax, Ruth Davis, Chris Tolson, Chris Chew, Tom Waters, Nathan Fox, Rich Puckett. So welcome. Thank you very much for supporting this event. It's a really important briefing for us, I suppose, and also for industry to hear what you've got to tell us about the program for the next year. Also, I'd like to welcome Joe Copeland. Apologies. The USACE Europe Chief. Welcome to the meeting. Great you could join us here. We have some representatives from our other SME posts and from Europe. So we have Alan Boubidet, who is the Regional Vice President, European Regional Vice President. Also, we have Cherise Knotts and Aaron Justice, who are the Deputy Regional Vice Presidents, and Colaf Albuch, who is the former Regional Vice President. And from Kaiserslautern, we also have Josh Dane, the President of the K-Town Post, Yvonne Lee, Chris Tastenda Magana, and Michael Gainey. Well, welcome from Poland, SME Poland. We have Chris Will, President of the Poland Post. So also welcome here. And Chris Knudsen is, I think, officially still the President of the UK Post. So great turnout. And also the name call out for Margaret Bertram, retired general from WSP, also former President of the Post. So thanks very much. We have a very special guest online. Hopefully she's going to say a few words. I'd like to introduce Sharon Kropp, who is the president, the national president of SME. Sharon, over to you.
Good morning, and thank you for inviting me. Can you guys hear me okay?
Can so far.
Excellent.
Go ahead.
All right, thank you. Just thrilled to be invited. Thanks, Charisse, for sending me the link early. And Adam, I talked to those just in the past week or so. Anyway, thrilled to be able to join you. I'm actually in Virginia at the moment, traveling. So in a hotel room coming to you from the US. But I heard that it's been a sold out event. And just wanted to remind everybody that, you know, it's January. Now we have just kicked off our brand new strategic plan for SAME, which I'm sure you've seen some things, but if you haven't, it centers around 3 pillars. And that's driving partnerships, delivering solutions, and developing people. And that's what we're all about. The society's been around for a long time, since 1920, and we intend to stay around that many more years into the future and beyond. And events like these are exactly what it's all about. And I know many of you that are regulars know the relationships that you build over the years. So thank you all for being there in person. Thanks to the core for attending and giving the briefing to the industry members. And there it is. It's that industry and government engagement, driving those partnerships together so that we can deliver solutions together for infrastructure problems all over the world. And then, of course, developing people, encouraging those around you. Hopefully there's some new faces as well that you can bring into the mix to come to future events. And hopefully I will see some of you in Louisville, Kentucky in May at JETC, where I'll be handing the reins over to Mike Hufstetter. Anyway, just wanted to say a quick hello and kick off your event. And I hear you're going to be installing some officers. And thanks again for all you do for SAME and for each other. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Sharon. So moving on to quick look at our agenda. I'll start with a brief look back over 2024, the activities of this post. And then we will take the board officers' reports. They will again summarize their activities last year. So some of the things I won't cover, they'll be covered by the various officers as we go forward. Next slide. So delay it. All right, so 12 months ago, almost, we were here again. We had a great briefing from Colonel Kent from the Corps of Engineers about the 2024 Euro program. I know quite a few people were able to attend that event. Those that did will notice that we had to increase the size of the venue because of the interest for this year. So thanks very much for everybody for supporting it. We started with 100 squeezing into the small ballroom that sold out within 2 or 3 days. And then we had plenty of requests to add space. So hope you enjoy the space, and we'll be planning on the larger venue for next year, I think. In February, we had the Tri-Service Industry Government Workshop in Naples, Italy, that the Post supported, along with the other European posts. Fantastic event. I think everybody that was there really enjoyed that. The news is that I've heard from Charisse is that the planning is in progress for a similar event in 2026, planning on Poland. So more details to come, but certainly something to look forward to, and you know, something that's going to be relevant to us all. March, we had a great young persons networking event. One of the things that we try to do in this post is as well as focusing on the technical side, we also have fun and try and bring in younger members, younger engineers, especially from the government side, into our programs. So that was great. I love the innovative for the soccer match. In April, we had a very good
Switch mic.
sorry.
I have one Scottish jazz.
Pausing for a second.
Yeah, sorry, online we're just having a little technical. I'm trying to solve the technical.
Don't drop. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, I'll try my best. Hopefully the audio will be a bit better. If put your hand up if you can't hear me. I can't hear me say that. So Ken Slade will talk a bit about the students who are in the IDEX lab. In May, many of the posts went to the JETC conference, so the JETC conference. I don't know where it was now. Which was in New York. No, it wasn't. That was a small business conference. Orlando. Thank you. Mine's a blank. Then in the we closed out the year with more technical presentations covering design build, ADD 75, cost schedule risk analysis, and climate resiliency. So our programs, Tim Connolly, who you'll meet in a few minutes, our programs really rely on input from either from industry or from government for what are the issues that we should look at. And we will definitely adjust our program to meet issues that everyone agrees we should be covering. Next slide. So this is our post leadership. These are the board members. SAME is completely supported by volunteers. There are some great benefits of volunteering. I know that everybody being busy.
Brian, the microphone's not working, so you're gonna just have to yell.
I gotta yell?
Yeah.
Wow, okay. I have to walk around if I'm gonna yell.
You're doing great. Just speak loudly.
So these are the CY24. This is our current board.
Really loud.
Better report, right? I think it's gotta get close to the mic, better report.
Is it better before? This is off. Apologies online. Okay. You get, I tell you what, you get, when I saw a microphone in the hand, things get very dangerous. Those that heard me singing. Yeah. All right. We have one change going forward.
So now the microphone's not working at all, so.
This is just giving me a feeling of comfort, right?
Yeah. We have the IT guy coming, but maybe just speak loudly until he's.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Brian, come out.
Nice and loud. You can do it.
Camera forward me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't make.
It's much more comfortable. So Ulrich has been a stalwart for the post for many years. He was secretary for many years, and then he stepped down. He stepped back up to that position a couple of years ago to fill a vacancy. Really stepping down again. And Alan Roberts will be taking over that position, and we will investigate later on. Next slide. Okay, this is where someone else can come up and shout at you. As you go to the post officer reports, and we'll start off with Tim.
We have a slide.
Next slide, please.
Welcome, everybody. We have a good program laid out for calendar year 2025. Our next event will be in March, where we'll have a young members event at the woodcutter axe throwing facility in Frankfurt. Looking forward to seeing all of you there. I'm not going to go through all of these, but we do have strategic topics identified that align with SAME values. We go to the next slide. And the one message I would have, if you do have an idea for a topic that you would like covered, please talk to me, especially from the government side. If we have ideas about what you would like to talk about between government and industry, that's why we exist as an organization, to be able to facilitate topics like these. But you'll be getting this. This is available on the Teams invite that you have, so you can take a look at the topics. If you have ideas on any other things, please talk to me. Look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Sure. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Chris Carone. I'm the membership chair for the SAME Right Mind Post. 2024 was a very good year. We actually had an increase in our overall member numbers, and we welcome many new members in 2024, and already one person list has signed up as a new post member in 2025. So thank you and welcome to all. And we hope to see you engage even more. This is a great turnout, but we want to see you engage even more during the coming 2025 with all the great programs that the team just laid out. So next slides, please. What is also very important that we have a great increase in company sustaining the post. We went from like 28 to 34. So it was a very, very good increase along the year. And we thank you really for the support you're showing. And it's also showing up today with all the generous donation that the various members and the companies made for the scholarship. That's going to make some, high school kids very, very happy. And just one formal announcement is that if you need professional development credits, there are certificates at the desk, the welcome desk at the door, if you need them for later. Next slide, please. And this again, they're all the sustaining companies, and we really want to give a big, big thank you for all you're doing for this post. And I'm done. Thank you. Oh, well, that's like one more slide. I forgot. This is the sponsor today, which you see here on display. So thank you again for that, your support today. That's really appreciated. Thanks again. You want to just? Oh well, that's another. Yeah, that's just. I'm sorry, I wasn't prepared on that. This is a slide that shows all the companies supporting the Europe region. Thanks to Charisse putting that together. So you see the amount of companies that support each post: UK, Poland, Kaiserslautern, and Rhine-Main. So it's a constant growing list, and that's really appreciated because without their support and encouragement, we could not going on. So thank you again for your support. I think it's okay.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Scott Harrigan. Ryan Weigert, treasurer. He's away on business today, unfortunately, so I'll cover his slide. But speaking of sponsorship, it's related to the topic today. So the money we do raise throughout the year from a few events, our primary expenditure is supporting the students that are going to study engineering at university or learning it in high school and just kind of inspiring them to go study engineering. So this last year, we gave about $7,000 away to those initiatives. So to students going off to university, but then also to the robotics clubs in the location, to children in our community that are doing engineering and getting interested in it. And then also these STEM camps that are hosted at a few different universities, for example, the Air Force Academy, where they go there for a week with different experts and same thing, get a deep dive on different engineering topics to inspire them to be this next generation of engineers to solve our nation's problems. So the money we do raise, that's where the majority of it goes. And that's what we spent last year, about nearly $7,000. So our outlook for the year ahead is our main two big expenses are this event, renting the salad, providing food, and then also our golf tournament, where we rent a course for a day. But we do raise money at those events as well. Those are our biggest kind of events of the year. So thank you for your support and sponsorships for the events to cover our costs and then earn some. And yeah, we expect to spend about the same amount of money through those engineering STEM initiatives this year, and everything usually with that surplus just goes to more to the university scholarships, but it's expensive. So that's the budget outlook, and pass it on to my next colleague.
Okay, Nick, Dylan?
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Scott forgot one of the things that we do, which is sponsoring the professional stuff that we do. So, the last couple of years, it's been 1 or 2 a year. I've had the goal the last couple of years to do more than that, and we're gonna see if I get it in 2025 or not. This is the event that we did, last year. I think early in the year, March, we got, a group of people together. We went to the Mines game and stood in the standing section of the Mines game and cheered them on. And that was when Mines was terrible. And after that, they turned their entire year around. So they was entire year. Go ahead to the next slide, please. This is my slide. I hate reading slides, but I'm not going to read everything on here. The one takeaway is that Sammy puts a lot of effort into mentorship. It's really important. There's, a wealth of information out there on why it's a topic that needs to get a lot of attention, and it probably doesn't get the attention from anybody that it deserves. So if you're looking to have leadership or mentoring be something that you guys are doing in your company, it really should be something you're doing in your company. There are a lot of resources through Sammy, through SAME. We get yelled at if we say SAME, sorry. So if you are interested and you don't know where to start, there are some links on here. If you don't end up getting a version of these slides that have the links, please reach out to me. My email is on there. That works all the time. And then, like we said, 7 March, maybe 14 March. I'm not really sure yet, and I got to try to get with enough people to make sure we're going to have a good turnout. We're going to do our next young professionals get together. SAME defines it as 40 and lower. I am not fixed to that number. So if you are interested and you want to come out, one of the important things we do with these is, meeting and networking. And that can't only just be young people. It helps to have everybody there from the company. So if you're interested, but you don't feel like you're a young professional, please come anyway. So look for more information on that. Otherwise, please, if you have questions, reach out. Thanks.
Good afternoon, Tim Steele or Shayla, depends on whatever country you're from. Couple of events we had in 2024. We hosted a unique event between STEM students in Germany and STEM students in the Ukraine. It included invitations went out to more than 500 students who attended virtually. We had 2 classrooms, one in Wiesbaden, one in Ukraine, and then other Ukrainian STEM students who were distributed throughout Europe were also invited to attend virtually. So this year we intend to have another, including 10 organizations from other locations, including Kaiserslautern, the UK, the New Poland field chapter, and after that, probably all of Europe. Next. Our second event last year was a visit to IDEX in Mines Castell. This was a hands-on presentation and series of stations for the students to explore during the visit. So we had a number of students from Wiesbaden High School come out during their lunch break, plus and learn something about IDEX. Next. For 2025, some updates. Our scholarship applications were distributed in December due in March. Applications for the SAME student summer camps were also distributed in December. And as mentioned, we're looking at having another virtual international classroom event for STEM students. Next slide. All right, this will be our 600th annual golf outing for students. So this will be my 12th actually setting up. Each year we have a theme and we have a confirmed date. So our golf outing is at Rhineblick Golf Course each year, and the confirmed date is May 9th. Let's see. Next slide. So our theme for this year is Hawaii. As you can see from the photo, we had a much smaller group. This was 9 or 10 years ago, and the weather was awful. So we're going to do it again.
after we had this, after what happened at this event, we assigned Scott Terrigan to the weather for the next 8 years, and he's done an outstanding job, so you're still assigned. Let's see, two reasons that there are photos of students up there. Number one, this event supports students, student programs, student scholarships, STEM camps, etc. So one of the things that some of us have done in the past couple of years is began inviting some of our STEM children, sons and daughters, to attend the event with us. Couple reasons for this. One, it gives them an opportunity to learn about volunteering, service, and meeting with other STEM professionals for the day. Let's see. I know Aaron has invited his sons a couple of times. Another reason is several of you, by either private industry or agency, typically have a difficult time finding 3 or 4 people to put together a group. So if you happen to have that issue, out of the 200 person members that are maybe in your company, consider bringing one of your STEM students along. Besides, they probably play golf better than you do. Second reason for putting the slide up is I wanted to show the scholarship award recipients for the last 11 years. Those are my sons. And they're not senior students every year. They don't qualify. But it's an opportunity to actually, again, bring them out. If you can't put together a threesome or foursome, previous slide had noted, a previous slide noted that we were expecting to raise $2,000 this year. No, we typically raise $4,000 and hoping to make it more this year. Each year we have greater turnout and greater numbers of private industry sponsors. So please hope to see you all on May 9th. Thank you.
The outreach and website, couple just more administrative comments more than anything. So if you want to get information about events, find out where it's going to happen, if it's hybrid or if it's in person, we do it in a couple ways. So the website is the best way to actually find out the details. Sometimes while we try to get that out in advance, it doesn't always happen. If we're working the details of logistics and stuff. So the most current information, and generally if it's a hybrid meeting, the link will be posted there. Navigate to the Rhine Mine. So I'm obviously the Rhine Mine coordinator. We try to do a collaborative publication of a news flash once a month. That's a regional thing. So we try to do that region-wide. And whether it's Kaiserslautern or UK Post or Rhine Mine or Poland, we try to have that information for anybody in the region. So the best way to get that newsletter is to join one of those posts. So we don't take individual, please send this to us. You're welcome to forward it to other interested parties in your organizations. But the way to get that is you have to opt in on the website, join one of those posts, and opt in to receive the information. And we send it out based off the email list that's maintained by SAME. So sign up and we'll send that out to you. If you actually want to get the presentation materials for any of the events, we post those. The link is actually, if you go to the website for Rhine Mine and hover over events, you'll see there's an archive and we post all of the events there. So we've had a couple platform changes. We don't migrate everything over, but we have links to previous locations where older stuff has been saved. And lastly, we have a YouTube channel. Charisse has used her personal hosting for a long time on that for Rhine Mine YouTube channel. We've expanded that now to be Europe, so you can subscribe to that through YouTube. That's also posted on that media archive. So events like this that are recorded, you're welcome to go there, view it, download or click the link to go to YouTube and view the presentation there. That's it for me. Thanks.
Hello, everyone. Here, the Streamers and Awards update. So, this year, as every year, nomination for annual streamers, to be submitted by 31st January. We will meet that deadline. Target for medium post, which is, my main post is classified as a medium sized post, and it's, 1,000 points. So Rhyming post achieved 3,475 points this year, which is phenomenal. This is 2,925 in 2023. That speaks to everything from everyone that you've heard from previously, from industry and government engagement, STEM, and the STEM, which we just heard from Ken, resiliency, which is part of the program that Tim runs as well. Chris is in charge of the memberships, as we heard about. So we met the membership goals, and we met all of our goals. There's 5 goals every year that we need to beat, with about 15 or 20 subtopics. So we've done phenomenally this year. We're also preparing the post IGA award presentation, which is in preparation. So if you have any ideas for anything that you've heard from previous speakers, then please, you can email Nick or Tim or myself, any other ideas. So 2 things that we want to focus on coming up is preparing vets and resiliency, like I said. So if you have any ideas moving those topics forward, we'd be glad to hear. So thank you.
The regional vice president to present a couple of awards.
And if we can stand here, that would be great, so that we can hear them up front.
Perfect.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, real quick, in case everybody online can't see, this is the attendance. Wave, everybody. Yeah. Thank you. There you go. Thanks, everybody, for coming out. It's wonderful to see you all. And thanks again to all the effort from the online hosts. It's certainly an honor to be able to represent you guys as the regional vice president. And all your efforts are evident in all these awards that are sitting on these tables that they get year after year after year, which is, it just shows off the dedication that they put forward, right? And we really have some standout individuals who put forth the extra effort every single time. Now, I'd like to start off by bringing up Ulrich. Yep. Come on up. And, you've been a member of the post for how long?
For more than 10 years.
More than
Less involved for the most time, because industry community and challenging events, or not challenging, interesting, and to organize something. I now worked over the past 2 years as the secretary for this post, and this was a lot of bits and pieces. Maybe biggest success was that we continue or got the approval to work the next 2 years with a private organization within the USACE Wiesbaden. This is admin stuff, and we have to fill out forms and to provide and to do. Finally, success. And then this was enough success. And I said, I step back. I still stay engaged with the post and visit the events and talk to people I know also from the business community. And so that's it.
Look, Ulrich really undersells it. If any of you have ever done this job, I'm sure some of you who have can speak for it. Secretary for a post is one of the most daunting tasks that takes some of the most terrible work. Admin is the thing that we all don't look forward to. And we go, as secretary's got it. And he constantly steps up and says, you know what, I'm going to take care of that. You can count on me. And for your years of dedication, I really want to say thank you.
Thank you very much.
And then, we kind of talked about a lot of the achievements. He was recently up here giving a quick rundown, but I would call him a STEM champion. Let's get up Ken back up here. Years and years, over 10 years of golf tournament success, right? And continued success, and keep doing it. And getting after STEM is one of the most precious things we can do as a society. We talk about how do we build the future of engineering success, and that starts at K through 12, bringing them up all the way through getting them scholarships, putting them through college, and then helping them transition into jobs, right? So if anybody has a passion for those type of things, look for events like the golf tournament. All those funds definitely go to support it, no matter what post you're part of, anywhere in the world. And for all those efforts, I really want to say thank you. And last but not least, an absolute anchor to the post, and certainly responsible for some of these things of having such an awesome crowd here. Yeah, I'd like to get Chris Carlona. You know, Chris has done so much that he literally forgets about all the things that he has going on. And, but all your constant enthusiasm, your constant going after and getting after membership and making these connections, that's what matters and what helps makes our post successful. So for that, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
you.
Well done. And I'd like to take a minute and just say thank you to the rest of the post board, not only the outgoing board members, but the incoming members, right? Because without their efforts, none of this would be possible. None of these connections would be possible. And also, I'd like to point out and say thanks to Sharon Crock for taking her time to even be part, even briefly. If she's still listening, great, Sharon. If you're not, I completely understand. But her words come here. Oh, there we go. Still live. Yes, Sharon, thank you so much for everything that you do for the society and giving us our new goals for 2030 strategic plan, right? Developing people, delivering solutions, and driving partnerships. And I can tell you right now, as a long-term member of the society, our members are what matters. That's what we want to get after. And if I could get a quick poll, how many people are raise their hands are actual members of Society of American Military? Awesome. Wow. I would encourage you to try to find someone who's not a member and talk to them about all the value, right? Because delivering that value and sharing the value is what we're getting after and helping making sure membership matters. Because if you're not getting value out of this society, these type of meetings, we want to know. These post leaders want to know so that they can give you everything that makes your time matter. So with that, if we could get the new board members up. And we'll do
Get
this.
the whole board up. Get the whole board up.
Yep.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes. No, anyone.
I hope it goes true.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna need one of your hands up for just a minute. If you wouldn't mind, please raise your right hand. Do you pledge to support the society's strategic plan and carry out faithfully the duties of the offices to which you've been elected? Well done. Congratulations. And now, congratulations. Look forward to all the work you individuals are gonna do. Keep this going off. Do one picture.
You guys could do the little that, so that you not in your. Exactly. I'm sorry, my last.
We're so close.
No more.
I'm a dense little guy. Here, you can spot.
And Karen was specifically requested selfies
No.
with the crowd.
Oh,
I don't know how.
You gotta do one.
yeah.
So you guys will have to turn around. Yeah. Okay, with the board. Everybody here. If you can. All right.
Congratulations and thank you, officers.
Thanks, Sharon.
Everyone in?
All right, everybody wave. Everybody, come on, everybody.
Thank you.
Program.
Thank you, Scott.
Okay.
No, I just want to. Okay, hang on. Sure, done. Excellent. So I just want to introduce, after Adam has said how difficult the job of secretary, I feel kind of bad because I took this guy into being our new secretary. It's Alan Roberts, from Black and Beach.
You didn't mention that earlier, by the way, what I just heard today. It's the first time
I gave you the bylaws, right? You read that. So I'm looking forward to supporting this. Thank you very much. Thanks very much for bearing with us for the society business is important to us, important to the all members. We now come on to the main part of the program, and I'm going to hand over to Tim to take us through that. Excellent.
Thanks. Yeah, if I could ask the speakers to speak from the podium because we do have the online microphone here for the team online. So today we're honored to have Colonel Klein with us, who is the Deputy Commander of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Europe District. Colonel Klein has a number of degrees. One of the most interesting of which I find to be the Masters of Economics and Innovation from Management from the Autonomous University of Madrid. Fantastic. In his own words, Colonel Klein started his career as a combat engineer, blowing things up, and now he's an engineering officer figuring out how to put things back together. His awards and decorations include the Bronze Star Medal, the Meritorious Service Medal, the Army Commendation Medal, Army Achievement Medal, the Meritorious Unit Citation, Iraqi Campaign Service Medal, the Global War on Terrorism Service Medal, the Army Service Ribbon, the Overseas Service Ribbon, and the National Defense Service Ribbon. Fantastic to have you here, Colonel Klein. Thank you. He will be joined by Mr. Weatherwax. We're honored to have him as the Deputy District Engineer of the Europe District. Justin is a graduate of the University of Florida, and he has extensive experience with the government, including Chief of the Missile Defense Program Integration Division at the Europe District. He also worked with the Defense Threat Reduction Agency in the Middle East and is serving as the liaison of the U.S. Army's Program Executive Office for Missiles and Space. Fantastic. We're honored to have you two here today to kick off our program. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tim. Appreciate it. So Tim was talking to me about my bio before I even started reading it. I was like, that's way too long. Just say I used to blow up stuff and now I'm trying to build it back. So Tim, you nailed it. So I appreciate that. Another discussion that we started the day with Tim. Tim said last year, Colonel Kent was giving his presentation. All of a sudden, in the middle of his presentation, a black cat arose. Presentation was all messed up. And I'm like, that's okay, because we as engineers need to react to unknowns. And now that I don't have a mic, this is good. I'm practicing my inner voice. So Joe Copeland in the back is used to hearing me yell at him. So Joe, either plug your ears or listen up. So yes, thank you very much for the introduction, Tim. I appreciate that. Again, I'm Colonel John Klein. Colonel Kent couldn't be with us here today. He's out in Belgium touring some priority project sites, doing great things with some teammates out there, along with some other of our district chiefs. So if you can go to the next slide, please. So what you see on the board is our mission and vision statement. To put it simply, we're a construction agency that's really seeking to deliver general support engineering, and real estate to Europe and Africa theaters. It's pretty dynamic right now in Europe. We have a lot of new changes. There's some conflicts across the theater. We have new innovations being put in place and a lot of new partners to enhance relationships with. So one of the unique aspects of what we do is really going to be adapting, and you're going to see that throughout this presentation. And I'd be amiss if I didn't tell everybody who is on my right. So, Justin and I, we brought some support with us, the whole teammate, because no one wanted to listen just us to talk for an hour. So over to my right, Mr. Rick Davis, Mr. Rich Puckett, Mr. Chris Tolson, Mr. Ryan Shoemaker, Mr. Jason Manning, Mr. Chris Tu. So all these folks are going to be giving some perspectives into what we're doing at the district, apply some of their subject matter expertise, and we'll get into that. So the most useful event after we're done squawking at you on this PowerPoint presentation is really asking them questions and asking us questions and fortifying the relationships, which is really what we're here today to do. So with that, next slide, please. Okay, this is just a brief snapshot of who we are. A lot of people in this room kind of know what a USACE district does, but those of you that don't, this is how we're a little bit different. I like to say that in all the districts and the Corps of Engineers across the entire enterprise, it's all a bushel of apples. We're a big fat orange. We're a little bit different. We do mostly military construction. And as you see on the graphic on the right, we have a pretty wide and diverse area of operations. Europe District, Rose is in just a name. So we actually do projects across the Africa continent as well. There's other construction agencies out there, NAVFAC, and they're doing some projects on here as well, but we have a lot of projects. So I think planned and in execution projects right now, last time I checked, Chris will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're at 1,418 projects right now that are either in current planning, development, or execution stages. So on the top of this slide, you see it says 600 employees. When Colonel Kent and I started in July of 2023, we're sitting at about high 400s, about 478 or so were in the districts. We had a lot of help from our higher headquarters, good feedback from stakeholders and teammates such as yourselves saying, hey, this is kind of what we need. This is kind of what we're asking for. We saw it, we heard it, and we've been on a trajectory for growth. So right now, I think we just hit 600. Last week, we're at 486. So yeah, about 600 total employees. So that's a pretty big jump. All that's doing is to make sure that the workload and workforce is balanced. I'm one of the minority, only one of 13 soldiers in the district. As time goes on, changes in the regiment that may lower, but that's why we have super smart teammates and civilians that are better than I, that can help us lead the organization. Another unique portion of the Europe District is that we have a lot of local nationals within our organization as well. They provide that subject matter expert. How do we do permitting locally? They're speaking the language. They're helping to foster those relationships, and we couldn't really do the mission without them. So a unique aspect. Also, so locations. We have over 30 field offices, and you'll see on a subsequent slide where we're located. Justin's going to touch on that as well. Jason might. But, we're across 14 different countries. Our headquarters is here in Wiesbaden, just down the road at the Amelia Earhart Center, not here on Clay, but we have area and remote offices pretty much across the continent of Europe. And we're even standing a couple up as we're talking. I said we have about 1,400 projects, but that's about 50 different countries. So obviously, we're going to lean on those local nationals and our experts here for that unique mission set. Another thing that's unique about us, our stakeholders are pretty diverse. Yes, our CONUS-based organizations do a lot of interaction with local municipalities. We're dealing with geographical combatant commands, EUCOM, AFRICOM. We're dealing with IMCOM. A lot of great new work with NATO as NATO kind of builds up some of their programmatics and what they're doing. DHA, DODEA, we do about half of DODEA's programmatics across the entire globe. A really awesome portion of the portfolio that we're proud about to deliver those schools. And I emphasize the word deliver. And then State Department, USAID, and SOCOM. Total program at the bottom says 10.1 billion. Chris can dabble a little more into that on his slide, but he's the number cruncher. But we have a huge portfolio, one that accounts for a lot, even not just within the North Atlantic Division, our higher headquarters, but also in the entirety of the enterprise. And then last year in fiscal year 24, we had about 850 million in contract awards, and we did about 1,400 contract actions. So all that to say, what we do is really seeking to improve readiness, which is in line with what the new United States Army Europe Africa Commander is about, and which end results in lethality for our Department of Defense. Some things I also want to focus on, they're not in this slide, but also if we're on the theme of what we did in fiscal year 24, we delivered a lot of huge projects across the theater. One that all of them we're incredibly proud of, but one being the Aegis Ashore facility in Rejkowo, Poland. You may have seen in the socials and the news about that, a huge success. Another being the long-term storage equipment facility in Powice, great partners across the organization, theater, and within USACE to helping to get that football across the finish line. Another great set of resources for our soldiers. And I was very thankful to have the honor to participate in the 173rd Airborne Brigade's storage facility in Aviano. Basically, that's forward secure posturing of resources to be able to rapidly deliver anywhere in the theater. I was able to cut the ribbon with General Cavoli. I know it looked goofy on the picture, but it was a great event. And at the end of the day, it's another success for delivery to give our warfighters what they need. And really for the U.S. and our allied forces to deliver as well. So we can go to the next slide, please. Okay. Some of you asked, like, hey, we want to see an org chart. Like, hey, who are your higher headquarters? How do you nest? This is kind of a simplistic org chart, but what this does is showcase the connective tissue for how we interact with lateral agencies and our higher headquarters. So you see our formal change command is on the left side of the screen. It's in green, Army headquarters, USACE over in the National Capital Region, and then North Atlantic Division. That's our higher headquarters. They have districts across the East Coast. We're the one outlier district that's located here in theater. But yeah, that's us. And if you scroll all the way to the right on that slide, so, it literally outlines some of the stakeholders I mentioned from the previous slide, UCOM, AFRICOM, and obviously the service component commands underneath those. And then again, that right side is some of our international partners, NATO. We're streamlining some of the things we're doing with our Polish provided infrastructure, programmatics, and offices. There's other FMF aspects of our portfolio that we're doing as well. So pretty diverse group of stakeholders and client base. And a large part of that is what you guys do. You guys play a key role in that to make sure that we can help deliver to our stakeholders. I mentioned it a couple times, and I want to hit on his talking points. So the new United States Army Europe Africa Commander, General Chris Donahue, recently took command, and he has three main things, and I wanted to hit on those before I get to the next slide and I turn it over to the rest of the teammates. So he had some key guidance. They had the Winter Commander Conference at USACE, and a lot of that's being trickled down to really understand what we need to do to meet his guidance and meet his end state, but three main things. So the first is be a good teammate. Everyone should want to work with our command, and that's what we're doing. We're going to discuss at USACE, within USACE's guidance, how we're reorganizing. We want to be an organization that everybody wants to work with. Number two, be ready and resilient. Units should be prepared to fight within 1 hour. 1 hour tonight. That's the level of readiness he wants. And that's why we're seeking to deliver those projects to get readiness up for our warfighters. And then number three, do the job well. Apply pressure to get resourcing as needed. It's as if your family was coming to theater tonight and they were having to fight here. So those are three big takeaways for him. And we'll have some sidebar conversations if you have further questions. But I'm excited to have the new commander in theater and see what the pathway ahead is. Go to the next slide, please. Okay, so I mentioned it briefly, but this is the work that we're doing. It shows a little bit of our resiliency. You know, we're spread across a wide area, but I won't steal too much of Justin's thunder. I want to turn it over to our Deputy District Engineer, Mr. Justin Weatherwax.
Thanks, Colonel Klein. There was a point in my life when someone said that I was a loud talker. That was the point before I met Colonel Klein. I'll do my best. So thanks for those remarks, and special thanks to the Post here for pulling this event together. It's a tremendous opportunity at the beginning of the year to share some of our perspectives and kind of reset the collective team's frame on what we're focused on in the year ahead. But I also want to take advantage of having the group here. So if I could get a show of hands, who here is from an A&E firm? Okay. All right. I'm not counting. I'd have to take my shoes off. Who's from a construction firm? All right. And then a little bit of a curveball. Anybody from a specifically focused design build firm? I got one in the front. I was able to count that. Okay, great. And who is here for the first time at this event? All right. And I know we've got some folks that have been dedicated to the theater here for a long time. Who is more than 10 years coming to this event? Okay, good. All right. Thanks for that, and thanks for what you and your firms do to help us deliver the mission all year round. I want to share a couple of other perspectives before I turn it over to the team, and they're gonna share with you the things you really want to hear. But in addition to there being a new commanding general for USARAF, Lieutenant General Butch Graham took over as the Chief of Engineers last fall. He hasn't made any fundamental changes to General Spellman's definition of winning, which is safely delivering quality projects on time and in budget, and those priorities remain. General Graham has highlighted some areas of focus that I think are relevant to the assembled group here. And those are, first, we have to make sure we get the engineering right. And that's something that those of us in the business know that we can't take for granted, but it is foundational. Everything we do should be driven towards making sure that the engineering plans we produce are correct and can be built and then therefore delivered into projects that our warfighters need. The second thing is get the project management right. And that is a lot broader spectrum because that can mean an awful lot of things. The portion of that he has us internal to the Corps very focused on is how we're using our systems of record to keep our scheduled data, well, not keep, make it accurate, keep it accurate, and hold ourselves accountable. So internal to every district in the Corps of Engineers right now, there is a lot of energy getting put into scheduling, and that starts to highlight some of the things we need to collectively work on when we're working together. We need to be very realistic about schedules and hold ourselves to that. And sometimes it's easy to say we can do things sooner than we can. We've got to get rid of that optimism bias when we're doing scheduling. So you'll hear that from a number of our teammates when you're working with us throughout the year. That's a very important thing to us. The other thing that he has focused on, or has the enterprise focused on when it comes to delivery, is to get the business right. And for us, that means a lot of things, and it has a lot to do with how we engage with our stakeholders and our end users who own the requirements that we deliver in partnership with you. And to that end, the district's making some big changes with regards to some of our work acceptance policies, and then the foundational organization under which we operate to make sure that those relationships are proper, and that when we're bringing work in and ask you to partner with us on it, that there's been a foundation of good thought put into that. And as you go through the year and are working with us, if you see places where we're getting that off or getting that way off track, please do reach out to us. Let us know. We're all smarter when we're working together. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Chris Tolson to talk to you a little bit and very briefly, so we can give you some of your time back, about the reorganization that's taken place within the district. We're probably, I would, in rough numbers, say about 80% of the way through with the administrative part. There are some procedural, governance, and cultural tales that'll come along this year. Chris was recently selected to be our chief of a branch we're calling the Program Support Branch, which does a lot of the business thinking for the district, scheduling the budgetary aspects of our PPMD. So, Chris, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. So like Justin said, Europe District is kind of going through some fundamental transformational changes to meet some of General Graham's new priorities, one of which is a reorganization of the PPMD, the Programs and Project Management Division that Justin oversees. So why are we reorganizing? We're not just doing it for kicks. We're doing it so we can develop a more streamlined organization, improve our delivery, and improve our communication with in partnership with stakeholders. So the kind of the first and the main tenet behind the reorganization for PPMD is to develop and maintain better relationships with our stakeholders, customers, and host nation partners. So I'll explain when I go through an organization chart of how we achieved this, but we essentially developed a more geographic approach to some of our project management delivery sections to sort of focus in on those specific partners that we have. Also are attempting to improve our mission command by reducing the programmatic and supervisory span of control. By doing so, we can have more efficient leadership, less stovepiping within the organization to hopefully increase our speed of execution on projects. We want to design an organization within PPMD that's more adaptable. So we're seeing increase in programs, more programs being added, more projects coming to us via work acceptance. So developing a structure that's more adaptable is important for us so we can pick up new programs where needed, develop new organizational and supervisory chains for those new programs, and just continue to adapt so we can be better aligned for mission execution. Also, attempting to align our project and program management pieces. This is something that we sort of had a disconnect with in our previous organization. So aligning those within the same chain is important for us and will help us improve our oversight of our programs and achieve a better business organization. We also intend to kind of empower our project managers. We had project managers within the division who kind of scattered, worked on specific programs, had a niche subset, but with that, it reduces the adaptability that we have. So empowering project managers, teaching them different programs that different projects that they work on is important to help us be adaptable so we can move pieces around within our organization to deliver our mission. So like Justin said, we're about 80% through. We had the reorganization took effect in December. A lot of moving parts that came along with this, a lot of administrative burden on the team. We're currently working through all of the administrative piece that goes along with it. We have about 400 projects that are transitioning between project managers and between supervisory chains. So that's a big impact. And we're working through those project transitions to make sure that they're done in a nice and orderly process, that we can continue our project execution as we transform our organization. So we expect project transitions to continue over the next couple of quarters. Not only project transitions, big piece of this, but there's also a supervisory transition element as well to changing the organization. We had about 80 people within PPMD change supervisors. So there's, like Justin said, a lot of cultural tales that are going to be kind of working on and adjusting and adapting into the new PPMD organization. But the intent is to hopefully have a better, more streamlined division for project management execution and delivery of our mission. So next slide, please. So this is the structure of PPMD. I'm not sure how familiar you were with the previous structure, but essentially we're setting ourselves up for a more geographic aligned approach for our business that is kind of our everyday business that we deliver to our key stakeholders in COM. So we've got West Project Management and East Project Management branches set up for our different U.S. Army garrisons, Rheinland-Pfalz, Wiesbaden, Benelux, et cetera. That's kind of the bread and butter of a lot of our MilCon SRM work that we do. We also have a major programs branch established. This is intended to focus on large programs that have key stakeholders or key reporting elements attached to those projects. So a major programs branch, Justin mentioned the program support branch. This is intended to support the delivery of those programs. We have a big focus on data cleanup and data initiatives coming from our higher headquarters. So that element is going to be involved with managing the money, managing the schedules that our projects are executing. We also have environmental work that we have a separate standalone branch that wasn't impacted by the reorganization. Along the top are some direct reporting groups to the PPMD chief. The first of which is kind of a new thing to the organization. It's the Host Nation Integration Office. This is intended to facilitate our delivery of indirect and direct projects here in Germany, as we're seeing more direct projects coming from the host nation, making sure that we have a cell who can facilitate our USACE delivery of those projects and have an understanding of how to execute both indirect projects and direct projects is going to be important for us to make sure that we're increasing our ability to execute ABG 1975 work. The host nation integration cell is kind of stood up intentionally at the beginning for Germany specific projects, but as we kind of see the benefits that that cell is going to provide us, we intend to have a long-term shift and develop that host nation partnering and integration focus for other countries within Europe and within our AOR. The Special Programs Division, this is a special cell that's focused on our PPI and MDA work. The medical branch, which has one of our larger projects, which is the Rob MC, the medical complex, as well as other DHA work. So keeping the DHA stuff focused within one specific area. And then our NATO work as well. So that's kind of an overview of the different programs and how they're aligned within the new PP&D reorganization, with the goal here being kind of improving our execution and our ability to manage our portfolio. So with that, I'll turn it over to Rick Davis, who will kind of go into more details on how we are executing our 2024 and 2025 programs.
Actually, if you want to go back one slide, please. As we go through our reorganization, a lot of transition of project managers and projects, as Chris mentioned. Been getting a few notes from our stakeholders about who's who in the zoo. So if you're having problems getting in touch with anybody in the district, especially PPMD and project managers, please feel free to reach out to me. I've got contact info cards, and I'll be happy to track that down for you as we get settled. Next slide, please. Start with a quick overview of where we've been, and except for 2023, it's been pretty steady workload. And as Colonel Klein and Justin mentioned, we're finally growing into the staffing that we need to execute this workload. Talked about last year already, and this year, if you go to the next slide, going to be pretty similar, about $876 million in contract actions that we expect to take. Kind of broken out along the bottom there with MILCON. Again, SRMs are primary workload, both in terms of numbers of projects and funding. Got a few large SRMs again this year, like we did last year. And we also have some NAF projects to provide facilities, MWR type facilities at installations around Europe. Chris, too, does not like to see the stack up in fourth quarter, but that's where we're trending, trying to pull some stuff back to the left a little bit. But again, with the way the funding's worked out again this year, a lot of the SRM type funding still waiting for authorizations. So once that hits, I'm sure we'll get going on getting those awarded. Go to the next slide, please. Really wanted to highlight our MILCONs that we're expecting to award this year. One of them, just past halfway down, is an indirect project. I believe the rest of them are through the direct process. So as Chris mentioned, we are getting the ability to execute a lot more projects from a direct process than we had in the past. So that will create some more opportunities, I think, in the future. A lot of these projects support the special operations relocation from Stuttgart to Baumholder, probably just past halfway with getting facilities ready for them. As they begin their move, we're hearing sometime next summer. So that work will continue and be important. Also continuing our expansion of projects eastward with some in Hungary. Not shown on there, but ones that we're working on are some new countries we haven't worked on before. I think we've got some work in Denmark coming up. I've got some work in Norway. So a few challenges learning how to operate in those countries, but I'm sure together we'll be able to get those projects delivered on time and to a high quality for our forces. What's not on here, special unique program that we do is humanitarian assistance. We do probably 8 to 10 projects a year in Eastern Europe, both the Baltics, the Caucasus. This year we've got 1 or 2 in the Balkans. They're low dollar projects, somewhere between $500,000 to maybe a little over $1 million, but provide very important infrastructure for the host countries, schools, medical facilities, emergency response facilities. So we do 8 to 10 a year in Europe, Eastern Europe. We also do about 8 to 10 in Africa throughout the continent. So we have active projects all the way from South Africa to Estonia going on right now, just to give a good perspective on the size of our footprint. Seeing some trends with an increase in exercise-related construction in Africa, kind of a new program that the district's getting engaged with now. And as the special operations forces move out of Stuttgart to Baumholder, the Stuttgart garrison has a very ambitious, thorough plan to kind of renovate, reset the footprint that they have at the installations in and around Stuttgart. So maybe this time next year, probably definitely in 2 years, we'll be talking about a lot of the work that's going on to support that move. So very brief overview of what we have going on this year. Do not see any slowdown in the out years. We are expecting some new directives for the next phase of the operational readiness training complex in Grafenwehr. We are expecting some new projects to fall for the Ansbach area. So just waiting for those to hit and continue working together to deliver facilities for our service members here in Europe. I will be followed by Mr. Chris Tu, our Director of Contracting. Thank you.
First off, I'd really like to thank everybody for showing up. We're always interested in discussing things relative to how we conduct the mission or the part of it. It occurs to me, I've worked some of the that's it. Knowledge. I also so much in public care. Those feel very important for your safety and side. Something like that. Talk a little bit about some evolution. There's a lot of change going on in the district. I was talking about Justin. Talk about how the change on this too much, but we still have a pretty big goal. Contracts, duration, low dollar value, complexity projects, and for a variety of reasons, we actually that was all pretty fun. So, so the things you see in blue are new tools, and in Germany will be regionalized. So, you know, hopefully a future evolution program. More simplicity the tools, you see the organization, but we're tied very closely to care. That's best practice and historically that's possible. So we have some other, we have another slide that shows some of the identity-based contracts that we're going to award. You know, there's a lot of states that go on with the rules and competition for years there. So appreciate that. continue to deliver along with that better. Gives us agility, and it's also, it wants to feel as big world something, so we got a lot of good skills. But I think different things. A lot more standalones, contracts, no company projects with power. So we'll continue to evolve how we put project based on. Maybe next slide. So a few things I wanted to touch on, look forward to questions you might have at the end of this, but I just talked about the regional approach to jobs, and we look forward to participation on those. My deputy here, Ryan, raise your hand. Where do we stand on those actions?
Sure, so they're all out on the street now. Proposals are anticipated to be received next week. Start the process shortly therefore after that.
There you go. Something very different. First time this district line with Danny's history. Much of the work we do here at Devon Partnership contracts support for Danny's. Ryan's work to appoint contract blocks for the SEPCC. We have responsible to those next to something close. That is one of the ads that lowers the cost value. That's any of our customers. But keeper service organization, if you were a contractor, it comes with a lot of extra costs that are there. Contract construction. So this is one more of that. I can call that is that's part of our state. That's exciting stuff. And like PMD, we're also doing some reorganization. I'm going to defer around. Why don't you talk about what you're doing? Okay.
Yeah, so in the contracting division, we recently realigned our workload. We didn't reorganize like to the scale that PP&D did. However, we did it for a lot of the same reasons that PP&D did. So before the realignment in contracting, we had 4 execution branches, most of which kind of focused on niche type actions. So one branch specialized mostly in AE contracts. Another branch focused mostly on construction. So the idea here is to give our contracting personnel lifecycle ownership from planning to design to construction. We'll also provide some continuity to you folks with some of our contracting personnel. They're likely to be engaged with these folks on your respective projects that you're executing for us much longer. So please, feel free to engage with them. And I can't promise that anybody, the same specialist that you're working to design for will be the specialist that does the construction contract. But I can promise you it will remain on that same team, under that same supervisor. So the idea there is that we execute more efficiently, more expeditiously, and also get folks a little bit more familiar with the work that we're doing from planning all the way through design to construction. Also trying to give our employees their responsibility about what we do and giving them more exposure to different parts of our mission. Briefly, headquarters in 6 changed because I won't dwell too much on this. It's too often, it's too often. The enterprise is also discipline, I would say, and that is to create more empowerment and pushing higher authorities out into the so MMD will have the same contract official, whatever that's like used to all of that. And so it's going to help us form the progress, the strategy, stuff like that. So it's a very, very positive development. Folks, and I mean, we got other things where they're going to be a little more sensitive to our condition to be challenged. We'll be better. So a lot of positive stuff in organization change. Kind of consistent with the regionalization of job contracts. We're also working with scales contract, which provides very good show out of the customer for a little bit, and he's got big, make sure we have the right to be able to the press and less places complex, but John, but something will bridge is on full designs, it's on reasons that you'll see that approach to me. New service contract strategy, we engage, we took everything we do here involves as a collaborator on that. We don't go that much in the way that sort of stuff. But we haven't had this integrated strategy that's so very short. Some market research. I think here some personal service approach to aspects of the places got. So we're going to see that. We're also going to probably do some more professional services. Line adjustment and others talked about with 600 people out of the it should be somewhere about 750. Is that about right? That's where we think it should be. But like anything, like closing those gaps and closing, this is really hard. There's some support, both national space fields. So I think there's a need for this if you're interested. Lastly, one of the things I get asked, Jason touched on this when we talked to, just brief things on actions. My knowledge today, but I know a lot of action that goes on around it. Some people talk to find out. So now I'm interested in this. So we wrote that, like we put this discussion. What's the level? Which actually successful. Something like that. So you have another sense of so those are the things I wanted to talk about before the questions and session with that. Based on the connects.
My name's Jason Manning. I'm the chief of the and he's TDY right now. So this slide should look familiar to a lot of you that do AE work with us. This is our base contract forecast for FY25. The first two are kind of our bread and butter, our large ones, combined value of just under 500 million. We're well into the solicitation phase of this, and we're looking to award by April of this year. The next two is Italy. That has a combined value of 90 million. That one we are source of stock went out at the end of August, and we're looking to solicit here in the next few weeks. So by mid-February, that solicitation should be out for Italy. And then lastly, we have Bulgaria, Hungary, Romania. We just kicked this one off. It's a $45 million contract. As of now, that may change before it goes out based on approvals. But source of stock should be coming out around the same time that the Italy solicitation comes out, so mid-February. Next slide, please. So this is our torn forecast of right now. I mean, you don't need to read this. This is on our website. So is the last slide. But this just kind of shows you that we have a healthy AE program right now. This isn't everything that we're going to get. We're going to continue to add to this through work acceptance. We're accepting new projects weekly. Actually, our busiest time is probably going to come up in the next month and a half as the deadlines approach where we are accepting work. So that deadline for AE contracts right now is beginning of March. Then we expect labor funds somewhere around mid-April. After that, we should really have a good idea of what our FY25 AE program is. I'll continue to update this slide and post it on our website, at least monthly, if not more, if we continue to get a lot of projects in. Next slide. So this is just some general information that me and Nathan talked about before he went TDY. It's actually more challenges than information, but things that we wanted to share with the AE community. So we need to be clear when we're delineating design during construction and adding like performance specs into construction specs. We're running into issues where it's not very clear and the contractor is saying that it's not part of their scope and the AE says it's not part of theirs. These contractors come sometimes from different countries, so they're not as well versed in host nation laws as our AEs are. So if you're going to delegate the responsibility, you have to be very clear when we delegate it, and it has to be very obvious. So be very deliberate when you're doing that. If not, it's likely going to fall back on the AE that you're going to have to provide those documents during design. So yeah, we just want to make sure that the AE contracts are clear when we're shifting some type of design from the AE to the construction contract. Second, we highly advise that you use host nation subs for the countries where the design and the construction is going to happen. A lot of our AEs either have like regional design offices or they use subs from like maybe a neighboring country to meet the host nation requirement. So we have lots of instances where host nation laws and regulations are being missed. And then that causes massive mods and time impacts to both design and construction contracts. So we can't tell you who to hire and who to put on your projects, but we highly advise you using people that are experts in the host nation laws and regulations of the country that we're doing design. And then AECOR, so we've been working very hard in engineering, like the district, to staff up to meet the demand of our AE program. So we've probably tripled the size of the AE design management section in the last year and a half. We went from 6, I think we're at 19 now. And that was basically to make sure that we have a COR assigned to every single contract so that we can monitor execution and then also enforce the contract, but also help the AEs and make sure you're not working outside of your contract or being asked that work outside of your contract. So all FY23, 24, and 25 projects have a COR assigned and have had a COR assigned since the award of that contract. For our more historical projects, we've assigned CORs to everything that we know that's in design and construction. So for our AEs that are on our contract, if you don't know who your COR is on your contract, first of all, that's a problem, and we'll talk with the COR about that. But also reach out to me. I can tell you who your COR is. I'll get you in touch with them. And then I highly suggest that you stay engaged with that COR through your entire contract. I mean, that engagement will go both ways, but we want our CORs proactively engaged in all contracts to help enforce the contract, but also to protect the AE from working outside of your contract. So, next slide. Oh, I thought I was passing it off, but apparently not.
So just want to say thanks everyone for your attention today, to the new SAME board. Congratulations on your positions. Thank you for the invitation to allow us to speak and really appreciate everyone's time today and us from Europe District. Look forward to continuing great relationships. Again, he did not get to talk today, but that's Mr. Rich Puckett. He's my public affairs chief, manages all those awesome socials. We also have a couple new teammates. So you're going to see some amazing new things on the social. So please follow us. If you have any questions, to echo Jason's comments, reach out to us either from the main website or email one of us. Definitely appreciate it.
Tim, you want to take questions here? How are we on time?
We're okay on time if you have time in 15 minutes maybe. And then I'll facilitate a Q&A session.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks.
Great, thank you very much. Excellent presentations. And just to reiterate a couple points to echo what Colonel Klein was saying in terms of the mission and the ability to be able to launch within an hour, really underscores the importance and the criticality of the mission we have here in Europe. We need to do the job well. We need to be good teammates. And just to quote, Mr. Weatherwax, we are smarter when we are working together. And that really is the purpose of today. We appreciate the sharing of information and the opportunity to come here and share ideas and hear what the future looks like. That enables us to serve you better as well. So thank you very much for that. What we'll do is we'll move into a 10-minute Q&A session now. I can moderate questions online as well as take questions here from the room, and then I'll hand it back to Brian, who will close it out. Okay, so we'll move into questions. I'll start from the room. Any questions from the room? Yes, please.
First of all, thanks again for coming out here and helping us be good teammates, execute national security strategy. Is it possible we get a copy of these slides? There's really great information, especially like this, the org chart would be really helpful.
The slides will be made available to everybody. Yep. Sure.
Website as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Hi, Margaret Bertram from WSP. First of all, I'd like to say to Jason or Justin, I'm sorry, and Chris, and compliments for some of the changes that have been made. I know Jason as well. The push to get CPARs out. We've all seen a big improvement in that. And then the CORs, they help because that helps a lot with communication between all the team and when we run into issues. So those sort of things are evident, and it's great improvements. But I have a question, I have a question. I've noticed starting last year, you've taken a lot of the major AE contracts and put them in two pieces. Some version of MILCON, non-MILCON, less than 500, all that. So some of those, but not all of them. For instance, the Romania that you put up was not. So I think it might be interesting to understand, where you're going with all that, and
Sure.
what that means and why.
That's a really good point. There's a regulatory requirement that MILCON construction be done by the US and it's actually done. You heard the remedy arrest. So you split them up, so we're not gonna have that issue again. Let's do that. So that's at the same time, our higher ed was kind of interesting. We didn't agree with working people. They wanted to approach kind of the whole idea of outside of sharing tool for the most part. And it's kind of how we do small business stuff in the States. To the actual issue they had with us. So they advised us to have two different tools instead of 300 notes. MILCON versus non-MILCON, stuff. So those things conspire to kind of create this. We don't really like it. It creates a little extra work. And I think it's going to point out, those are the biggest schools in Europe by far. So it's $500,000 of capacity.
Yeah, so for the Bulgaria, Romania, Hungary, that one's still in the planning stage, so it's based on requirements. So if we don't have the MILCON and we're not showing any MILCON coming up in those lanes, we'll put the Hungary in place. So we're still in the requirements phase of that. So that one may have dual solicitations. We just haven't gotten that far to make that decision yet.
One last thing, Italy, gave CCA Justin to talk about this week. So we the art comparison that the bills support them, the days in some cases, that's what they goes for that. That's another thing they actually use. Their own tools they work with.
Yeah, no, Chris, I think that covers it. If you read the NDAA and look at the duty about who's responsible for Milcon, where you can probably get yourself pretty dizzy. But right now, we've done, I think, 2 Milcon efforts in Italy, an ACP, the minor Milcon warehouse. There might be one other minor Milcon. Sometimes those get negotiated for a variety of reasons between USACE and NAFAC, but we don't foresee ourselves taking on a significant Milcon mission in Italy at this point.
Very good. Any other questions from the group? Yes, please.
You contracted with Alliance. Suboptimized. You're probably like, oh, my goodness, so, know that we're committed. What's been for some on locks. And now you've seen things in the third quarter, second quarter, aspiration, and then added justice, also pilot, we aspire as an organization to be able to advertise Hilltop projects in the prior year. Office, if preparation stuff. So hang with us over the course of 7 years, doing this and that way, stripping more and more work out of the workforce. That's pretty successful just last year. We're doing better. We've got ways together. That we actually go to. That's something we talk about. We chat because strategy for helping as well. Thank you. That's right.
Excellent. No, thank you. I think back to Justin's point as well on schedule, getting rid of optimism bias is something certainly I'm accused of all the time about how rosy the future looks. But I think maybe just to wrap it up then, one underlying message certainly is a robust future of work where we look forward to working with one another as we go forward and as we leave this room. And with that, I'll turn it over to Brian to wrap up. Brian.
So I have the job saying thank you very much. Thank you for coming. Thank you for also for coming, for bringing your colleagues with us. I think we have the room actually until 3. I think it's probably no one's going to stay that long, right? So you have an opportunity before they run out the door, maybe go. If I could make a whole presentation. Whatever Sheree said, right? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
For coming to this. Wish you all the best as you move on to your next hosting, I guess, in April.
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 Yes, thank you. All right. Thanks, everybody.